I'll adapt it with American names, keep it family-friendly within YouTube policy guidelines, and present it as a long, continuous narrative, no bullets or headings. The style will be novel-like, emotional, and dramatic, keeping the focus on feelings, relationships, and personal growth, not anything explicit. This will be a long piece, so I'll generate it in multiple parts until we reach around 5,000 words. Part 1. When I look back now, it's almost unbelievable how a single weekend could hold the power to change the course of so many lives. At the time, it seemed simple enough. My best friend, Melissa, had called me one Thursday afternoon asking if I could do her a favor. She had to travel out of town for work, and she didn't want to leave her 19-year-old son, Ryan, alone in their house for the weekend. He wasn't a child anymore, of course, but Melissa worried the way mothers do. She knew he was responsible, but she also knew how quiet and lonely her home could feel with just him inside. So, she asked me if he could stay at my place for the weekend. Melissa and I had been friends since college, so saying yes felt natural. Over the years, our friendship had survived so many ups and downs, career shifts, marriages, children, even the heartbreak of her divorce. We trusted each other implicitly, and her son Ryan was practically family to me. I'd seen him grow up from a shy boy who clung to his mom's side into a tall, confident young man who carried himself with a surprising calmness for his age. When Ryan showed up on Friday afternoon, bag slung over his shoulder and a polite smile on his face, I couldn't help but notice how much he'd changed since I last saw him a few months back. His features had sharpened, his shoulders broadened, and there was an ease in the way he greeted me, as if he were already at home. "Thanks for letting me stay, Miss Carter," he said, his voice warm but respectful. "Call me Emily, please," I replied with a laugh. "You're not a kid anymore." He grinned, and for just a second, I saw a flicker of something in his eyes, something I couldn't quite name. But then it was gone, replaced with the same polite friendliness I'd always known from him. The first night was easy. We had dinner together, simple pasta and salad, and talked about Melissa's job, his college classes, and his plans for the summer. I found myself genuinely enjoying his company, not just because he was Melissa's son, but because he had an openness about him, a way of listening that made you feel heard. I wasn't used to that. Life as a single woman in her late 30s had its fair share of loneliness, even if I rarely admitted it. The house, normally so quiet, seemed warmer with him there. He laughed at my jokes, offered to help with the dishes, and even sat with me afterward while we watched an old movie on TV. At one point, I caught myself glancing at him and realizing just how much he resembled Melissa, not in looks, but in spirit. Kind, loyal, grounded. Still, there was something else. A subtle shift in the air, something unspoken. And though I told myself not to dwell on it, I couldn't deny it lingered in the back of my mind as I went to bed that night. The next day, Saturday, would prove to be the one that changed everything.